Hey Kentucky, welcome back. Time to talk a few more topics now. First up, an independent investigation shows that a member of former Governor Matt Bevin's cabinet was told about deception by the former CEO of Brady Industries as early as last summer, but there's no evidence he shared that with state officials. The update involves former Economic Development Secretary Terry Gill, who apparently learned about accusations against former Brady CEO Craig Bouchard last summer or fall. The troubled aluminum company has made headlines for accepting $15 million from the state as one of its investors. And Keith, as much as I like to blame Matt Bevin for a lot of things, this one is still all on Craig Bouchard to me. I mean, there's so much smoke here, there's got to be fire.
I mean, it's still baffling as to how this thing got that far along and why it's still being talked about, I think, other than the fact that it just needs to end, you know?
Yeah, it's over. It's not happening. Let's find a new industry to come to the Ashland area. All right, the effort to get coronavirus testing for African Americans in some areas of Louisville has been challenging. People who tried to walk up to Shawnee Park's drive-through testing site have been getting turned away at the entrance. Governor Beshear says the state is working with local governments to come up with another way to test. Why are we still having so many problems testing?
So you have to drive through this? Is that the problem? You can't just walk up and have this done? I mean, come on. If you have the test and somebody wants to get it done, please, by all means, let's help them out.
Yeah, that's what the president said yesterday. Anybody who wants a test can get a test. Anybody. Anytime. Anywhere. Let's do it. All right. Members of the music scene in Louisville and elsewhere are hoping for help from Washington during this pandemic. Venues such as Headliners Music Hall have not had a performance in over 2 months. The owner is part of the National Independent Venue Association, which sent a letter to Washington lobbying for money to support local artists and performance halls, which is a normally $9 billion industry nationwide. And Keith, one thing I haven't been able to come to grips with is that I don't think I'm going to see the Backstreet Boys at Rupp at the end of July, and it's killing me.
Yeah, well, my Journey concert has already been canceled for September, Journey and the Pretenders. So
wow.
But we do, these are part of what we need. We need this to come back into our lives so it can be normal again, so that we can go see musicians we love.
Music, art, all of theater, all those things are so important. Workers at Kentucky animal shelters say there's been a boom in pet adoptions in the COVID-19 era. The director of the Humane Society in Bowling Green says their facility is up nearly 40% in adoptions and down 25% in intake since the quarantine began. But they're also worried about the fate of pets once those new owners return to work. But Keith, if you're going to get a puppy, now's a great time because you're at home and you can train them.
Yeah, and much like you did with the Girl Scouts, aren't you ready for like 5 puppies? Go ahead, put that out there.
Yeah,
perfect time.
No. If we can make an even exchange kid for puppy, then yes, I'll take 2. Meanwhile, kids at Caldwell High School used a hit Netflix documentary as the inspiration for their senior prank. The tiger is the school's mascot and is featured prominently on their school sign. Now the tiger is accompanied by none other than the Tiger King himself, Joe Exotic, sporting one of those flashy silk shirts. Keith, I think this is hilarious.
This is a senior prank I can get behind. I'm not even going to mention some of the others I've seen before because I'm not giving any kids any ideas. But this one is really cool, and I can get behind this one for sure.
I do. I really like it. Staying with our animal theme, Kentucky wildlife officials are offering tips for people who are having problems with bears this time of year. Most problems involve food, so make sure there's no garbage or food scraps that draw animals closer. And remember that it is against the law to feed bears in our state. Keith, they're eating everything in sight too.
And the problem is they probably aren't finding as much where people weren't going out and heading out to the gorge or other places like that and staying out overnight.
Exactly. All right, the coach of the UK volleyball team is celebrating after Prep Volleyball named his 2020 signing class as the top one in the country. The Wildcats are bringing in 5 highly touted players to Lexington this fall, looking to defend their back-to-back-to-back SEC championships. Keith, Craig Skinner is one of the most underrated coaches at Kentucky.
Coach Calipari has done it again. No, Craig Skinner is definitely one of the tops. I mean, it's amazing the recruiting that's going on right now across the board over at UK because, you know, we've seen Rachel Lawson bring in some great players. Obviously, Coach Calipari is doing it. Stoops is doing it. Now, how about this? #1 for Craig Skinner. Couldn't be happier for a nicer guy right there.
I know, and they've been amazing. They got to get to the Final Four. Pulling for that. All right, the wrap up is next as Hey Kentucky continues.